Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa alihi tahirin. Today we are beginning our course on ethics. And this course on ethics is a brief, kind of simple lessons on ethics. And today's topic, we're going to talk about Iman and morality. Just a little bit about these things. There's a lot that could be discussed and a lot of different aspects that can be said on these topics. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Our topic today is on Iman and morality. Now, Iman is a word sometimes they translate as faith, sometimes as belief. So I think belief is a good translation. This is the same word that you have mu'min comes from, believer, Iman, mu'min, uh, these kinds of words are from this meaning. And morality we call Akhlaaq, which we'll talk about in the end of the lesson here. So what is Iman and what is morality? The word al-Iman means belief. It can be said that Iman is something that is occurring while your heart absorbs the beliefs and then produces actions in accordance with those beliefs. Here, from an aspect, we must mention that the word belief may be used in different contexts. So in various different contexts, you may see the word iman or belief or related words used, such as belief being a level higher than submission. Islam comes from taslim. Islam means to submit to Allah the Exalted. So belief being a level up, while also being submission to Allah, while also containing submission to Allah, it is a level up than what is merely just enough to keep one in the folds of Islam. So that is Islam and belief are uh, are are having a kind of interrelation, but a person may be a Muslim without having Iman. And then they could work up and have a level of Iman. But a person cannot have true Iman without submitting to Allah the Exalted. Hence, to be a believer is to be a top-notch Muslim who is up a level. In fact, this reality of Iman is something excellent and amazing. Therefore, we can understand that the word believer, mu'min, in usage may be used in different manners. So sometimes it may refer to those who adhere to a certain belief. We may say that they are the believers of such and such. But the reality of belief and being a believer at its perfect state, at its real reality of what really is a believer, is an internal situation which has levels and grades. Such true believers are in fact the real Shia Muslims. And we use this word Shia Muslim nowadays to define uh, a particular madhab of thought, right? We say, okay, those who believe in the successorship of Imam Ali alayhi salam, we call all them some type of Shia. But what is a real Shia? If you look in the Hadith books and you see this word being used, you'll find that it is indicating upon someone who has really top-notch belief. So a real Shia, and what a real Shia is someone who is really having that top-notch belief, who really does the proper actions, who really is following the Imams and what they teach. So again, this word Shia, just like the word believer, maybe people use it some different contexts, some different ways, in different sciences, in different contexts to explain different things. So we should be conscious of that. But let us look in the Holy Quran what we find about the word, about these words, Islam and belief. So we have in Surah Hujurat, Surah 4, Kalatil Arabu Amana. The Arabs, so they say this meaning the like Bedouins, say we believe. They say Amana, we believe. Kullam tu'minu walakin kulu aslamna walamma yadkhuli al-imanu fi kulubikum. Say, you do not believe yet. Rather, say, we have submitted. So as they transinterpret it in this translation as we have embraced Islam. For belief, because belief has not yet entered your hearts. Kulubikum. Wa in tuti'u Allah wa rasulahu la yali amalikum shay'an inna Allah ghafurun rahim. Yet if you obey Allah and His Messenger, He will not stint anything of your works. Indeed, Allah is forgiving, all merciful. Allah is all forgiving, all merciful. So a real believer in Allah the Exalted and His Messenger puts forth efforts. A real believer believes in Allah the Exalted and His Messenger and puts forth efforts where Allah the Exalted commands him. With one's wealth and in oneself, such people are true examples of living in the path of Allah the Exalted. And a lot can be said about belief over here and what believers are, and a lot can be examined. We have a hadith in a narration in Kitab al-Kafi from Muhammad ibn Yahya. Is narrated from Ahmad ibn Muhammad ibn Isa, from Ibn Abi Umair, from Jamil ibn Daraj, who has said the following. He said, I asked Abu Abdullah alayhi salam about belief. So he asked him about Iman. The Imam alayhi salam, he said, it is to testify that no one deserves to be worshipped except Allah. So it is to do this testimony is to say it's to shahadatu and la ilaha illallah. It's to do the witnessing, the testimony that there is no God except for Allah. Wa an Muhammadan Rasulullah, and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. This is the explanation is given for what is Iman. So the narrator, he inquired of the Imam. He said, Alaysa hadha amalun? Is it not action? Is it not deeds? Is it not deed? So Imam alayhi salam said, the Imam said, Bala, yes. Then I asked, so he says, Bala, yes. So he's affirming it, it's deeds. I then asked, the narrator says, is deed belief? Fal amalu min al iman? Is amal, is actions belief? So what did he say? He said, one's belief does not take any root without deed, and deed is from belief. La yathbutu lahu al iman bil amali wal amalu minhu. So action is part of belief. Action is part of belief. So at an initial level, people are divided into believers and non-believers, mu'minun and kafirun. And having true belief, consequently, that person will be a firm religious person. who believes in this religion and tolerates the pains and difficulties with the aim of belief, who believes in this religion firmly and accepts responsibilities in the line of belief. Such a person cares about adhering to this belief, cares about maintaining it and not demolishing it in themselves. Hence, they seek to adhere to the correct line of religion. We have a hadith in Kitab al-Kafi from Muhammad ibn Yahya, from Ahmad ibn Muhammad ibn Isa, from Al-Hasan ibn Mahbub, from Ali ibn Ri'ab, from Humran ibn Ayun, who has said the following. He said, I heard Abu Ja'far alayhi salam saying, Allah has given superiority to belief over Islam by 1 degree, just as he has given superiority to the Kaaba over the sacred mosque, over Masjid al-Haram. So when one accepts some things in Islam, like they do the witnessing, um, they have some common things. They are in the folds of Islam. They're not rejecting anything that are fundamental. Then they're inside the folds of Islam. Now, to be you submit to Allah. Now you could go up a level and become a top-notch believer. So when you're in the folds of Islam, it's like you're in Masjid al-Haram. When you become a believer, it's like you're at the Kaaba. You're in the Kaaba. A believer is one who attempts to obtain the mercy of God. And following his will, one must seek to know what to do and what is commanded to him or her, and be consistent in proper action. In fact, to perfect one's actions at some levels, one must become a moral person, an akhlaqi person. So what is this akhlaq? Akhlaq is part of self-development. Akhlaq, or morality, we have this word khalq is for external creation, and khulq is for internal creation. So khulq is where akhlaq comes from. So khulq is internal things. So akhlaq, or morality or ethics, is meaning the science about how to establish the good virtues and remove the vices. So it's talking about the internal qualities of the soul, or attributes called virtues, like taqwa, sabr, patience, hilm, forbearance, ubudiyah, servitude, and about vices and how to remove those vices, those bad qualities that are found in the soul that we must remove or clean up or balance, such as condemnable anger. We have to turn that into courage. Unchastity, have to turn that into chastity. Impatience, have to turn that into patience. Lack of obedience to God, got to turn that into obedience to God. A true believer has some special qualities which can also be termed as akhlaqi qualities as well. Part of the prophetic mission is also imparting to us moral directives and giving examples of moral life. Hence, by following the correct moral principles, we can have a good relation between what we believe and what the Prophet ﷺ taught us, performing good deeds, all in line with getting nearness and mercy of Allah the Exalted, and avoiding his punishment and wrath upon us, which is indeed, if we achieve that, salvation. The best place to look for moral guidelines and directions is, in fact, the Holy Quran then, and the authentic teachings of the Prophet ﷺ and the Imams ﷺ. We have Hadith Akalain, I leave behind me, Kitabullah wa Itrati. So we have these two, they're together. They don't oppose each other. They don't conflict. They are together. So we must follow them together. Now, of course, when we cut the hadiths, not every hadith is authentic. So we have to look for the correct things that we know for sure they have taught us. Other things, maybe they didn't say it. Maybe they said it. There's been some fabrications. There's been some lost things sometimes. So we can't be sure of what we don't know. We have to have some kind of certitude. So although we can find moral teachings in various different places, sometimes we may agree and sometimes we may disagree on certain areas and details. But if we get something from the Prophet or the Imams or from the Holy Quran, then we know for sure that this is the authentic thing to be dealing with. This is the right thing to be looking at. Now we just have to make sure we understand it correctly, inshallah. So an advice before I end the class is that you pick a moral virtue that you want to develop. Like if you want to be generous, pick a virtue and practice that action. Go take some extra money that you have that you don't need, uh, maybe something, and give it into charity. Make it a habit to give something into charity, and practice that action according to it. Or if you lack obedience to Allah in an area, practice obeying Allah in that area. So practice those actions according to it. So pick a moral virtue you want to develop and practice actions according to it until it becomes a habit. And when it becomes a habit to you, inshallah, then it becomes a moral quality. It'll become what we call as a malaka, a fixed quality in the soul. And so they'll become fixed quality in you. Then what you have to do is now it'll become easier to do that action. You just have to maintain it. You have to be careful you don't develop a vice by ignoring that virtue and doing opposite to it. So it will be inshallah easier then to do the actions in accordance with that virtue. So that is everything for this lesson. Wal akhiru dawana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.